Picture this. You finally saved up for that massive home renovation. But how do you actually know if the person standing in your kitchen giving you a quote is legally qualified to tear down your walls? Welcome to this explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled to have you here today. Whether you're planning a huge addition or just swapping out an old electrical panel, hiring the right professional is literally the single most important decision you'll make. Today, we're diving deep into verifying contractor credentials in South Carolina. We're going to take what feels like a clunky, bureaucratic process and turn it into a super simple, actionable framework you can use right now.
But before we get into the nuts and bolts of how to do this, let's start with a massive, high-stakes question. What actually happens if your contractor isn't licensed? Look, we've all been there. It is incredibly tempting to hire someone off the books to save a few bucks. They offer a killer cash deal, they say they can start tomorrow. Sounds perfect, right? Well, that is until Uncle Bob accidentally wires your kitchen sink directly to your microwave. Skipping a quick background check can genuinely lead to catastrophic legal and financial disasters.
If you hire an unlicensed contractor, you're not just risking a sloppy paint job. Unpermitted or unlicensed work can actually completely void your homeowner's insurance policy. Imagine a massive house fire sparking from faulty wiring and your insurance company refusing to pay out a single dime just because you used an unlicensed worker. Yikes! Plus, unpermitted work can literally block the sale of your home down the line until you pay for incredibly expensive corrections. Oh, and if the work fails, you have absolutely zero lien rights or legal recourse. You are entirely on your own. It's a stark warning, and honestly, it's exactly why we put this explainer together.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our game plan for today. 1. The high stakes. 2. Meet your licensing boards. 3. Step-by-step license search. 4. Real-life scenario, the electrician. 5. Red flags and common pitfalls. And 6. Next steps and final checks.
Section 1. The high stakes. Why verification actually matters in South Carolina.
We touched on the risks, but let's look at the exact legal thresholds that make South Carolina's laws so absolutely critical to grasp. You need to know exactly when the state mandates a licensed pro. $5,000. That is your magic number for residential projects. In South Carolina, any residential undertaking where the total project cost is over $5,000 legally requires a state-issued residential builder license. This isn't just about grabbing a local municipal permit. It's state law. For commercial projects, that threshold bumps up to $10,000. And get this, under South Carolina code, doing contractor work without a required license is a misdemeanor criminal offense. We're talking potential fines and even imprisonment, so yeah, it's definitely not just a suggestion.
Section 2. Meet your licensing boards. Let's navigate this dual-track system.
So you know you need a licensed pro, but who's actually handing out these licenses? Well, finding the right regulatory board is honestly half the battle. South Carolina uses a dual-track system, with both housed under the Department of Labor Licensing and Regulation, which we'll just call the LLR. On one side, we have the Contractors Licensing Board, or CLB. They handle commercial general and mechanical contractors for those projects over 10 grand. On the other side is the Residential Builders Commission, the RBC. If you're remodeling a kitchen or building a house, this is the board you care about. This brilliantly illustrates why you have to be careful. If you search for your home builder in the commercial CLB database, you might not find them and falsely assume they're unlicensed. Knowing which board governs your specific project is a vital first step.
Section 3. Step-by-step license search, using the LLR verification portal.
Let's move to the practical stuff and see how this builds into an actual foolproof guide using the LLR's public license lookup tool. Good news, it's totally free, no account needed, and it takes maybe 60 seconds to get a definitive answer. Here's how you do it. First, head over to verify.llronline.com/license lookup. Second, choose the correct board based on what we just talked about, contractors for commercial or residential builders for your home. Third, type in the business name, or honestly, even better, the license number. Searching by license number is way faster and more accurate since marketing names often don't match legal registered names. Finally, and this is the big one, confirm the status says active. Not expired, not suspended, it has to be active. Pro tip, if a contractor ever gets weird and refuses to give you their license number to run this check, walk away immediately.
Now, when you pull up that LLR record, keep your eyes peeled for a very specific term, the qualifier. In South Carolina, licenses are often issued to a business entity, like an LLC, but there has to be a named qualifier attached to it. This is the actual human being who passed those grueling exams and is legally responsible for the work. You want to make sure this qualifier is still actively associated with the company you're hiring. If they've left the business, the company's license might be hanging by a thread and at risk of becoming void. It's a crucial little detail that almost all homeowners completely overlook.
Section 4. Real-life scenario, the electrician. Let's apply this search to a real home project. To really cement how this works in the real world, let's imagine you own an older home, maybe out in North Charleston or Columbia, and you desperately need to upgrade an outdated electrical panel. This is highly technical, dangerous work that absolutely requires permits. When those bids start rolling in, you need to know who you're dealing with. A master electrician has passed higher-level, comprehensive exams. They have the green light to pull permits and supervise other electricians. A journeyman electrician, on the other hand, has finished an apprenticeship and passed a licensing exam, but they generally have to work under the supervision of a master for permitted projects. Ultimately, you've got to ensure the company you hire holds a current, active South Carolina electrical contractor license capable of pulling those permits for your upgrade.
Section 5. Red flags and common pitfalls. Warning signs before you sign.
Okay, so you know how to find the legitimate pros. Now let's pivot to spotting the bad actors. Even before you hit that LLR database, watch out for these massive red flags that loudly signal a contractor might be dodgy. Cash-only deals or off-the-books pricing? No way. A licensed South Carolina contractor will accept standard traceable payment methods. What about a refusal to pull permits? Absolute deal breaker. If they tell you they're skipping the permit just to save you a few bucks, run. Also, state law requires licensed electrical contractors to display their license number on their trucks and ads. If it's missing, you should be asking why. Watch out for massive upfront deposits too. Anything over 10 to 25% just to start is super unusual here. And finally, if they're using high-pressure tactics to force a signature today, just walk away. Real professionals give you time to compare quotes.
Section 6. Next steps and final checks. Looking beyond the license. So, you ran the LLR search, the license is totally active, and there are no red flags. Ready to write that deposit check? Not quite yet. An active license just proves the contractor met the minimum state requirements. It doesn't guarantee top-notch work or current financial stability. You've got to verify a few more things for total protection. First, check for disciplinary actions right there on the LLR website. A license can be active but still have a long history of complaints. Second, ask for their certificate of insurance for general liability and workers' comp. And here's a massive tip. Don't just glance at the paper they hand you. Actually call the insurance carrier directly to verify the policy hasn't lapsed. Finally, cross-reference customer reviews on the Better Business Bureau. Going beyond the license is how you truly protect your home.
So, the absolutely crucial point I want to leave you with is this. Never, ever allow work to start without a written contract. And that contract must include the contractor's verified South Carolina license number, a super detailed project scope, a clear payment schedule, and warranty terms. Seriously, if it isn't in writing, it basically doesn't exist. This document is your ultimate safety net if things go sideways.
As we wrap things up today, please keep this professional disclaimer in mind. This explainer is for educational purposes only. Always consult with a legal expert or the appropriate South Carolina authorities, like the LLR, for specific issues regarding contractor licensing. But look, by taking just 60 seconds to run these checks, you are buying yourself incredible long-term peace of mind and protecting your most valuable financial asset. So, armed with this knowledge and the LLR database right at your fingertips, what projects are you ready to tackle safely today? Thank you so much for hanging out with me for this explainer, and happy, safe building.